Let's go over an example of this strategy in action. These are my trades that I did on one account. These are my trades that I did on another account for the same exact trade. This made me about 38,000 over the course of 2 months. And there's actually another trade that I did earlier this year where I made double this amount. But I'm showing you guys this one because this one was technically more correct for the strategy. This is how the chart looked when we took the trade. So why did I first enter into this position on this candle? Well, we see this major trend line from November of 2021 all the way until now, and this trend line was able to keep price downtrending the entire time. We finally broke out of that trend line and did an explosive move to the upside, and then we came back for a beautiful retest. So one of the things that we use in the strategy is high time frame trend lines like this one. So if we check on the weekly, I mean, look at that, that's beautiful. And we check on the monthly, this is a very, very strong and significant trend line. So you always want to take positions around significant trend lines such as this. So that's one factor. Another factor was this beautiful inverse head and shoulders neckline retest. Boom. So not only do we have this retest of a major trend line, but right underneath is a neckline of the head and shoulders that formed the bottom of Tesla. The whole trend of Tesla changed from this inverse head and shoulders. So that's another confluence. So first we have the trend line, the major trend line, then we have the major inverse head and shoulders. We went in with half size. We leave the other half available to add upon dips. Most of the time there's dips. So as I mentioned earlier in this video, there was another trade that I took this year that made 80,000, but I did not use this method. On that trade, I could have made probably 300,000 if I used this method. So that was the first entry. The next entry was actually a sell on 730. Okay, so now we're keeping the trend line, we're bouncing, we did a huge bounce off the trend line. That's where we sold. Okay, so we sold basically into this resistance. As we can see, price did a massive rally of about almost 10% off of a major support, and it ran right into resistance. So we took some partials over there. And the idea here is if we can get a quick compound, sell high, and then buy back those shares lower, that's a perfect way to lock in some profits and be able to add more on the way down. And we're not selling the entire position. We're selling only a small piece. So 20% of the position, 10% of the position, along those lines. Because our overall target is much, much higher. The target from this inverse head and shoulders alone is about here. At this zone is the neckline of a new, bigger inverse head and shoulders. We're being adaptable to the market and we're allowing ourselves to be flexible. And then we bought back right after. This is a one. So this was another retest of the trend line. So we bought again. Now we're heading towards the neckline of the bottoming inverse head and shoulders. So this is all an amazing place to buy. And I'm not too worried about this trend line breaking because it already broke to the upside. So we bought some more there, and then 8.6, we bought some more. Then we got a beautiful opportunity. The market gapped down. While we're building a new position, the market gapped down. I was gonna add a huge entry here, but the options didn't go down as much as I wanted them to, so I didn't. Instead, I waited for those options to go down in value to then add. which is why you can see next entries are 86, 87. This happened on 85. I didn't add on that down move. Instead, I added 87. At this point, the option went down much more in value because this is essentially now sideways action. When there's sideways action, the underlying doesn't change much in value, but the option drops significantly in value. So those are great opportunities to buy more. So essentially, I'm just buying on big discounts. 812, we had another small red day. 822, we had another huge red day. I happily bought over there. 827, another red day, bought again. 830 was a green day. So I bought over here because we closed back up on the trend line. So when that happens, sometimes price just continues going up after that close back above the trend line. As you can see over here, we did start to go back up towards the highs. And then on 905, I sold. See, we had a huge move right after that. 905, I sold back into this previous resistance, locked in some profits, and then I locked in some more, and then I bought back in at a discount. Just a couple hours later, I got about a 20% discount. And then basically, fast forward, price broke out of this new inverse head and shoulders and started going back into that zone. So we started taking profits slowly, and we ultimately got out of our position around there because there was a big rejection off of this major zone. This is essentially what we were targeting. And now we're flat looking for the next trade. We entered into this resistance zone on a green candle. So we took some profits there, but we didn't take the whole thing. And then the next day, we had a huge rejection off of this zone. So at this point, price is telling us there's huge selling happening here. So we exited the rest of our position. Next time, what we can do better is instead of exiting the entire position, take off maybe half. Because when this type of thing happens, usually there's a retest. So as you can see over here, there was a big negative reaction and then a retest, which ultimately led to the down move. So yes, we made about 40,000, but we could have probably made around 50,000 if we implemented that technique. So the last day of the trade was this, and now we're flat. That's the trade. I know this probably looks a little bit complicated. There's a lot of things happening, but my intention with this service is to give you guys the best possible entries and learn over time and develop the intuition needed to do this yourselves. You're not gonna be able to do all of this right away. It's gonna take time, it's gonna take practice, but I'll be here the whole time. If there's any questions, you can ask the chat. I'll make lesson videos, and over time, inshallah, you'll develop the intuition that I have now, which took me about 8 years. You'll develop it maybe in 1 to 2 years. And then you'll be able to do this on your own. But in the meantime, you'll be making money with minimal effort. All it should take is about 20 minutes a day. I'll send the alerts, and if you guys like the entry, you can take part in it. Just launched the service, so there's a huge sale going on right now. After October, the price is going up.